Okay, welcome back. Okay, the carbs are all clean. They're out of the ultrasonic cleaner. So let's get working on reassembling them. So let me just dump out the parts right here. They're still a little wet too. So here's the enricher. I'm going to put the enricher in first, but first, and again, I'm putting a banjo fitting here. I think that's what you call them, banjo fittings. And I forgot to test this one out, but I'm going to test it out now. It seals up. Okay, so that is that one. Okay, that one is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, I guess, reinstall these. So stand by 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm cleaning out the pilot jet first. I'm using carb cleaner, and I'm physically cleaning it with a piece of wire. So I want it to be nice and clean. And it looks nice and clean. But if you will stand by, I am going to get my other phone because I want to see what size this is. And I keep looking at it in the light to make sure it's open. So stand by 1 second. Okay, we're back. And it is actually a 0.45, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to be. So let us put that in the Just really want to kind of gently put it in so you don't cross thread it. Okay. The next is we're going to build the accelerator pump. And I'm going to take out this. This one may not be the one that came out easily. So this was not coming out, and I'm not going to force it. So I need to make sure that it is clean throughout. So I'm going to use a carb cleaner to go through it. I got a good spray going through. I'm going to physically go through it as well. I want to go through all the holes, and normally it's not a problem. Okay, so all the holes, I go through there easily. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Freol. Freol is like a lubricant. And really, I kind of want it to slide easily. So just picture it like a WD-40. But a WD-40 that actually works. So and this cap goes on it. This entire assembly is called the accelerator pump. And the main jet goes on top of this. And so the main jet is really kind of wide open. It's so funny, you can actually see the opening through it, even though it's so tiny. Enjoy. Where are you at today? Okay, good. Okay, so the accelerator pump goes in here. The next is the needle. So again, I'm just going to throw a little Freol in there. And so the needle gets installed on this. Float gets dropped into here. And doesn't need to be tapped in or anything. It gets held in by the float bowl. The next is the air mixture screw we will put in. And so this is the side that goes out 2 times. So we're going to screw it all the way in. One half, one half, two. We have the screen. And I'm not going to be doing the crossover pipe. I have these double banjos. So that will not fit. I'll try this one. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to just blow through it to see if it works. It does. Next is the idle adjustment screw. Which of course is on the wrong side. I'm replacing this clamp bolt because it's not the right bolt. But before I do that, actually it looks good. So I'm going to adjust the height first. Well, let me put in the, this is the enricher. I'm going to put the enricher in. I'm just going to lube it up a little bit. Obviously, that's been blown out also. All the orifices have been blown out. And so the next step is I want to there is a I'm going to actually measure the float height just to make sure we are good to go. So the float height for this needs to be 24 plus or minus a half millimeter. And it is measured. This is called a connected float because both of these are together. And do you see how that springs back like that? Well, we need to measure the distance from this to this. And so the I've got my gauge here. It needs to be 24 plus or minus a half millimeter. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see me doing it. And of course, this is my meters. My tool is going to be upside down. So I want to measure from the top of here to the top of here. I understand that it is kind of so. This is approximately it right there. That looks like it's it right there. So we're at 24.49. So we are right within the specification. In fact, I'm just going to, that's really kind of what it is right there, 23.73. So it's 24 plus or minus a half millimeter. So we are good to go. I'm going to check this side as well. Yep, that's good too. So that is how you measure the float height. The float height looks great. So the next step is to, let's put the float bowl on. Okay. I'm sorry, we've got to put the enricher in. And there is a washer on here. I'm sorry, an O-ring on here. And I actually think it looks really good, so I'm not going to change it. If I have to change it, I will. It is... And let me blow out this enricher tube. So I'm blowing it out with air. There are holes up around here I'm going to block. It is wide open. So this goes right here, and this is This is actually, and this sinks into the float bowl right here because there's a passage right here. And so here is the float for this carb. So the big end goes toward the intake. Here's the top of it. So this carb is ready to go. So I'm going to put this over here. Oops. I'm sorry. I'm going to put this screw on here too. So it is, I have these special squared nuts. And so okay, so that is good to go. And okay, so let's do the next one. First thing we need to do is, okay, this is the, I'm going to take a quick picture of this jet so that I can see what size it is. That's kind of the easiest way to do it. Take a picture and just blow it up. This is also a a 45. And yeah, this is the 145 actually. Boy, that thing was actually kind of dirty. So let me take a picture of this one and see where we're at. Yeah, that 145 was, it was really dirty. Can't even read this one really. That's a 45. Okay. So first I'm going to get this out of the way and blow through it. And I'm then going to air hose through it as well. And we have a nice hole in it. And again, you need to physically put a wire in these jets to clean them out. And this wire is just from a wire brush because the wire is just so fine. It'll get through these jets. So we're going to install this first one. Easy, don't cross thread it. Next, let's build the jet and the accelerator pump. Okay, the ball bearing is nice and loose. That's good. That's what the ball bearing looks like. Right there. This basically acts as a one-way valve. And let me throw a little bit of I'm going to go through here just to make sure we're good to go. Even though I took it apart and I saw that it's all open. And these are huge holes in here. But you still need to physically go through it with a and this entire assembly is called the accelerator pump. And it's very finicky getting it started, but you need to do it by hand so you don't cross thread it. Okay, you want to make sure that just put it by hand so you don't cross thread it. I'm going to tighten this up. I'm going to put the accelerator pump back in. I'm then going to go through the main jet. And again, the main jet's nice and clean out. And it's a huge hole. I'm going to see if you can see the light through it. You can see how big the light. Yeah, it's tough to see, but it's got a huge hole in it. So it is, we're going to put the main jet in. The needle valve looks great. Going to install the float. You do not have to jam the thing in very hard. The this pin to hold in the but you want it to go through comfortably. So without forcing it, you don't want to force anything in. I know the floats are fine because obviously in the ultrasonic cleaner, I can see that they floated. Okay. Okay, let's take a quick measurement on these. And this is really kind of fussy. They have a special device. Okay, so I'm coming up at 23.67, which I would say it's really, I would say it's really, I would say it's really right there, 23.97. So it should be 24 plus or minus a half. So that's really great. I'd say the same for that. So flow height looks great. And the next is cleaning out the enricher tube. And the enricher tube looks good. Looks good. So the enricher tube gets installed. You don't have to crank it. Okay, so we will install the air mixture screw. This is going to be 1.5 turns out. Okay. 1/2, 1, 1/2. I'm going to basically just slightly grease up the enricher lever. These things really get caught too, so you'd really need to be aware that these things, if there's a problem with these carbs, these enricher plungers seize in the cases, and it's just a pain getting them out sometimes. So if you see a carb for sale that is just so old, quite honestly, that's the only thing I really kind of would worry about. Everything else is, even if there's an issue with the accelerator pump, that's not a problem. the idle. Adjustment screw. The float bowl gasket. Gasket kits are about $10 or $15. Obviously, one gasket kit is good for one carb, and it generally includes everything you need. And so we're going to tighten this up. And I am missing a screen here. So stand by. Let me get another screen. Okay. Here's another screen. Looks good to go. I'm going to blow it out a little bit. I've gotten to the point in life where I put filters on everything. So I'm going to put a fuel filter on each line too. And again, I'm putting a banjo fitting here. I think that's what you call them, banjo fittings. And I forgot to test this one out, but I'm going to test it out now. It seals up. Okay, so that is that one. Okay, that one is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, I guess, reinstall these. So stand by 1 second.